So, good morning, everybody. That was quite sudden. Hi, teachers. Hello, students. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Do you know why you're here today? You're here for the PSLE last minute PSLE oral boost. Okay, and today with us, I'm teacher Mavis, and with me today are our very experienced teachers like Mrs. Sham, teacher Juliana, and teacher Ryan. So they're all here to help you out today, to give you support, to give you tips. And if you have any questions, you can type it out in the chat, but please do not spam, okay? And or you could use the Q&A function to ask us questions. Now, what do you need with you today? Today, you'll need this document. Okay, let me share this with you. This. You should have downloaded this. If you have not, it's okay. You can refer to my screen. Okay, so this is the document you should have downloaded earlier on when you signed up for today's webinar. And today, what's the focus for today? Today, we want to answer your questions. Okay, so if you have any questions, concerns, you could ask us. We'll address them to the best of our abilities. Today, we want to focus on what you can do in the next few days to boost your confidence a bit more. So wherever you are right now, however you're feeling, whatever marks you're getting, we can all do better. Okay, that is our aim for today. So, whatever you can do in the next few days. All right, now let's take a look at this exam pack. And in this exam pack, you will see two sections, right? The reading aloud and the SBC. We are going to begin with reading aloud first. Okay, so before we begin anything, I would just like to bring your attention to the first things first, the oral exam assessment objectives. Okay, so what are they assessing you on? And I believe many of you are already very familiar, but if you are still not so sure because you've been receiving different kinds of information, I'd like to show this to you now, okay? So the first things first, reading aloud. Reading aloud, in the past few webinars, I think Mr. Sham was there as well. In the past few webinars, we heard some things that students shared with us, and we want to clear your misconceptions, okay? For reading aloud, all they're assessing you for your fluency. That means, are you fluent or do you get stuck when you're reading? So when we're fluent, we get the words out of us smoothly, expressively, in an appropriate way, depending on the purpose, audience, and context. And of course, when you're expressing yourself fluently and expressively, you must be clear and you do not misread, which means you don't add words, take words away, etc. Now, do you need to make eye contact during reading aloud? It's impossible to make eye contact during reading aloud because you'll be looking at the paper and looking at the teacher and you will miss out words. So there is no need to make eye contact during reading aloud. Thank you very much. Students are responding. Can respond in chat to the questions I'm asking. Yeah. Or you could give us an emoji. No eye contact required. Look at the paper. The only eye contact you're making is with the passage. Okay? Now, the second thing that we heard was, do I have to memorize the passage in the 5 minutes I'm given? No, you don't have to do that. This is not a rehearsed speech. In the 5 minutes, you are meant to go through the text, familiarize yourself with the passage, and then anticipate some questions for SBC, right? After looking at the photograph. So there is no need to memorize any part of the reading passage. You do have to familiarize yourself with it. Maybe there are some words you're not so sure. You need to pronounce it or say it out a few times. Some phrases are being broken up because the first part of the phrase is on line 1 and the second part of the phrase is on line 2. You must make sure that you read them smoothly as a complete phrase. That's what we do in the 5 minutes. Okay, and the last one, must I be dramatic and use a lot of gestures? No, your hands should be holding the passage paper, okay? You do not have to gesture. This is not a drama exam. So we hope we've clarified all these. Okay. Oh, there are some students who have not downloaded this document. I think I can could Mrs. Sham, could you help, or Sweaty or Isaac, could you help attach the document in the chat, please? Thank you. This document I'm showing on the screen. Okay. So these are some misconceptions. We've cleared them. Now, what about some misconceptions about SBC? Uh, what are you being tested on? Firstly, when you're being asked a question, you're supposed to share your response, right? So your personal opinions, your ideas, your experiences. There were some students told us, my teacher said we don't have to share experiences. Yes, we do. It is here. It is in the assessment objectives, okay? So wherever relevant, you don't need to share many experiences. But if it answers the question, if it supports your points, you share an experience. And you do so in a way to engage the reader, or rather the listener. Okay, so be passionate, be enthusiastic. You really mean what you say, you're really sincere, you really care about what you say. So then that would engage the listener. And where does eye contact come in? Eye contact comes in here. When trying to engage somebody, you look at them, right? You don't look elsewhere. So eye contact comes in here. When you're trying to engage somebody, you look at them, you look at their reaction, or if they look interested, they're nodding their heads, or they're frowning, or maybe you want to clarify something. So that's why we look at somebody when we talk to them. Okay? Now, AO3, Assessment Objective 3. In reading aloud, we have to read fluently. When we are speaking, we also aim to speak fluently so that our listener can follow our train of thought, right? So we speak fluently, we make appropriate pauses so that it's for you to consider your next point, all right, and for the listener to digest what you've said. Now, pronunciation and grammatical accuracy is also important in speaking or in responding to SBC questions, because if you are not clear in your pronunciation, we can't really tell what you're saying. Okay, if your grammatical structures are really warped, we can't understand what you're trying to express. So there must be a certain level of grammatical accuracy in your speaking. Okay, so using the right tenses, using the right sentence structures would be really helpful for someone to understand you well. And of course, vocabulary and structures. If you can find the word that's best to represent what you're trying to say, use it. If you can't find the word, describe what you're trying to say. That would be your next best bet. Okay? There is no need to get stuck thinking, what is that vivid word my teacher taught me that day? I want to use it now. No, don't get stuck doing that. Use the word that comes to you, the standard word, a proper word that comes to you naturally. Okay? Because fluency is important. There is no need to use bombastic words. Most people don't understand bombastic words. Okay, so first things first, if you use a lot of big words that usually people don't use or have never heard of before, then they will frown. Be like, what is this student trying to say? So do not use bombastic words. You do not need bombastic words to score, right? It's not in the assessment objectives. And you do not have to come up with strange or bizarre ideas to be different from others. Okay? If you want to stand out, just be fluent, be clear, be enthusiastic. You will stand out. So there's no need to purposely introduce an idea that might not be so logical or strange just to stand out or to be different, because that will work against you. Okay? So I'm going to pause at this point. Are there any questions? Are there some misconceptions or some things you heard and you're not so sure? Is that right? Is that wrong? You could clarify it with us here. Okay? Oh, there's a question I just saw. I'm going to just answer it, okay? Should we whisper if the text says the person is whispering because it's in the dialogue tag, right? Now, in the exam, now you're about 2 tables apart from your examiner. If you really whisper, they cannot hear you. So what we need to do is a loud, dramatic whisper. You know, if you have seen a stage performance or If your friend is trying to tell you a secret, but it's quite noisy, they have to do a loud whisper. So, what are you doing here? You just press your voice down a little bit, but you're still very audible. So it's a loud whisper. You can do that. You must be audible, or else, because that's what we are assessing, right? Okay. Must we make eye contact with both examiners? We get this all the time. Okay, for once and for all, we're going to respond to this. When you talk to two friends, let's say you have two buddies and you're sitting with them in a canteen and you're talking to them about what happened yesterday, do you consciously ask yourself who you should be staring at? No, right? You just look at whoever you want to look at, either. Okay, naturally. So there is no need to look left and right like that. Okay, naturally shift your gaze from one person to another. That's fine. Um, Let me answer a few more before we move on, okay? Do you have to change your voice? You don't have to change your voice. If it's a male character and you are female, you don't have to change your voice like, hi, I'm a man. You don't have to do that. This is not drama. But you can use the right tone. So if this man is very serious, then in your best serious tone, express that idea. Okay, so there is no need to change your voice because what happens is sometimes when we change our voices, it starts to break. And then we might make mistakes. And then we start to panic. So we don't want that. Okay, there's no need to change your voice. What if the text asks you to shout? You don't, you raise your voice, but do not roar at the examiner, okay? You give them a shock. So don't have to do that, huh? Where should we put our hands during oral? If it's the reading aloud, you hold the paper, right? 45 degrees. Okay, so that you are not doing this. If you put the paper on the table, you are doing this, right? And then everything gets stuck. So hold the paper 45 degrees. Your voice is traveling straight to the examiner's ears, and your eyes are looking slightly down 45 degrees. I think that's the best position or posture for reading aloud. For SVC, just put your hands on the table. Okay, if you are naturally somebody who gestures a little bit to get your point across, like me, okay, I do this. You can put your hands on the table. That's fine. As long as you feel confident and relaxed, I think that's the most important. Okay? Should we try to make the examiner laugh? Like I mentioned, there is no need to purposely try to make somebody laugh. Okay? There is no need to. If whatever you're mentioning is quite humorous, let's say a funny experience, okay, it's fine because it answers the question, but there's no need to intentionally do it. Why does your teacher ask you to put your paper on the table and read? I'm not sure. Maybe that's her personal preference. It could be a personal preference. There is no rule that says that students cannot touch the paper. You're supposed to hold it, right? Okay. I've answered the gestures one. So now, more teachers have joined us. Teacher Monica, Teacher Wei Lun is here, okay, to help all of you today. If you stumble, you see, the examiner, I'm going to just show you the rubric since I'm here, okay? There is nowhere here that says that if students stumble once, minus 1 mark. That is not how the teacher's assessing you. We are looking at overall performance, right? Okay. So what happens is, if you really stumble, carry on confidently. You understand? Yeah, that is what you can do. We try our best not to stumble. We are given time to prepare. Okay? So don't worry about, oh, my teacher might not. Those shouldn't be on your mind. Be focusing on, let me remain confident and clear for the rest of the passage. Okay? All right. Thank you, Mr. Shah, for answering the questions. And teachers too, yes. Okay. So we want to be here. We are looking at reading aloud very soon. So clear and consistently good pronunciation, fluent, appropriate pauses without hesitation, and effective variation of pitch and tone. So this is what I mean, right? There is no need to sound a certain way or use to sound a certain way unless it fits the context. Okay? Yes, later we'll show them the rubric for SBC when we reach that section. Okay? All right, now let's take a look at the reading aloud notes very quickly. Very quickly, this is not new to you, I hope. Now, reading aloud, for especially the new syllabus, reading aloud is now like a mini performance with your voice. And you could be delivering any kind of speech, right? Given the different purpose, audience, and context. So you're not just reading words. Remind yourself that you are performing with your voice. You want to be engaging. Okay? Use your stress, intonation, tone to engage the audience, to bring out the meaning of the text. So some final reminders, do not read too fast. I think the teachers here have been meeting and assessing their students, okay, for the past weeks. And this does come out, especially when you're excited or you're feeling all this very strong, this adrenaline rush, right? Reading very fast. So if you tend to have that habit, you need to take in slow, deep breaths, calm yourself down, and remind yourself, I'm going to take my time. This is my stage. Okay? Yes, okay. Do not read too fast because this will result in many problems that affects everything in the descriptors, in the rubrics. Okay? Pay attention to the purpose, audience, context. When you are given the preamble, right? The two sentences before the text, the preamble, and as you're reading the text, you'll get an idea of who you're talking to, why you are doing this speech, and what is the context, like what's happening. So what's happening that made you have to, deliver this speech? So that's the context. And where are you delivering this speech? I remember telling students, right, there was a speech addressing the whole class. Imagine you're in front of your class and there are 40 students. And the teacher said, okay, everybody now listen to Juliana. She's ready to give a speech. And you want all your classmates to stop chatting and look at you. Are you going to have low energy? Are you going to be soft and gentle? You are going to greet them with great energy so that they'll give you attention. So when you are given the PAC, put yourself in that scene and really imagine you're talking to that group of people, that size of audience, and project that energy that's required. Okay? How fast do you read? You read in a way that allows you to articulate your words clearly. So later on, we get some students to demonstrate, okay? We get some students to demonstrate. At Mind Stretcher, we remind students using the REAP acronym. Now, if your teachers have taught you something, of course you can use them, but this is what we use here. Okay, some reminders when you're reading, not monotonous, the musicality in your voice, okay, so the highs and lows in a meaningful way. Do not just go high and low for the sake of it, right? In a meaningful way. So as long as you're not monotonous, you're stressing on important words, you're asking questions like, how are you? Not how are you? Okay, how are you? How are you doing today? You look great, not you look great. So using the right tone or stress would really help you to get your message across, okay? Expression, be expressive. Articulation and accuracy. So the A, when you are given a long word, especially multisyllabic words like appropriately, let me give you an example, this word. Appropriately, appropriately. There are 5 syllables. Don't eat up the sounds. Say appropriately, appropriately. Don't say appropriately, appropriately. Don't mush up everything. Articulate, okay? Appropriately, punctuation, attitude. So this is articulation. And remember, when you're practicing, be familiar enough that you're not going to take away words or add in words because accuracy is important. Okay, don't add or skip words. And lastly, pace and fluency. Pace and fluency can vary as you are reading. So let's say this paragraph, your speaker is really excited. The pace, you could increase the pace a little bit, but not so fast that you start to make mistakes. Okay, so for example, pace your reading by pausing appropriately based on punctuation marks or the emotions conveyed in the passage. This is quite fast, but I didn't make mistakes, right? And I articulated my words. If somebody is very hesitant and they're not so sure, read smoothly without stumbling over words. Just slow down a little bit like that. So Still clear. The most important thing is it's still clear. Okay, so these are some reminders we have for you. Let me see if there's anything I have to address at this point. Okay, all right. Let's take a look at this. So for those of you who downloaded this exam pack earlier on, I hope you have gone through the reading passages, you have practiced, you might have recorded yourself. Okay, and we are going to get some student volunteers, student volunteers to read aloud today. And we're going to share some feedback and tips. So even if you are not speaking to all the students here today, behind your screen, what are you doing? Listening, taking note, wondering how you would express this paragraph. Okay? How to download this pack? Have we shared this in the chat yet? If not, very quickly share it, okay, in the chat. Oops.
It has been shared several times.
Ah, okay, that's great. Thank you, Mrs. Sham. Because I keep seeing it.
Yes, a
Okay.
lot of them are asking the same question. So all of you, please pay attention because we cannot be repeating ourselves about the point about eye contact, dramatic hand gestures. Follow. Okay, you can keep your questions going in the chat, but do pay attention because sometimes when you are texting in the chat, you would have missed out on some of the advice we are going through.
Thank you, Mrs. Sham. Okay, so just now earlier on, I mentioned there's a preamble before every text, right? This is something new for your batch, and it's very, very useful. It's very good, okay? So you are now given some information on what is this speech about. For this one, let's take a look. You are tasked with speaking to your classmates about pet ownership. So the topic is given, audience given. You have prepared the speech and will now read it aloud. As you're looking through the text, you realize there are some keywords like good morning, Mrs. Han and fellow classmates. So I want you to imagine, where are you? Where are you giving this speech? You are giving this speech in the classroom, right? Likely, right? Are you speaking to just 10 classmates? No, if you're form teacher, it's a whole class, okay? All your classmates, this is the place, the setting at where you are speaking, okay? The classroom, your classmates, pet ownership, something that is, if I don't read the text, I'm not sure what you're going to say about pet ownership. But pet ownership is something really an important thing, given what's happening in our society, right? A lot of pet abandonment issues. So this seems like a very important topic, okay? So I'm going to just important topic, and you are going to perhaps stress on key ideas. So you want to make sure that in this speech, you're not just talking because your teacher is asking you to do it. You are doing it because you want to persuade your classmates. You are not just a fact sheet. You are a person with enthusiasm, with sincerity, and you're going to persuade your classmates about the important issues and the concerns you have. Okay, what's the context? Like I said, in society or in your class, many people want pets. They see all these cute videos online, right? But they don't understand the long-term commitment. Teacher Juliana has many guinea pigs and hamsters at home, and she spends a lot of time taking care of them. So it is not, I would say, not for the faint-hearted, not for anybody who wants an easy life, okay? So yeah, she can attest to that. The tone, informative, persuasive. So in the 5 minutes you're given, for about 3 minutes when you're looking through the text, you don't have to write anything down, but in your mind, you know, okay, I'm in this scene. I'm now in the classroom. I'm talking to my classmates and I want to speak in such a way so that they get it. They get my message. Okay? So now, I'm not going to talk so much now. I'm going to invite some student volunteers to try. Okay? So, okay. No. Before we unmute a student, have all of you looked at this text? Do you know that every paragraph in this text has a slightly different emotion attached to it? Or you think it's the same? I just be cheerful throughout. Is that it? It's cheerful throughout. Every paragraph has its main idea, and an emotion could be attached to that main idea, or a tone could be attached to that main idea. Some are more serious than others, you're right. Okay, some are more serious than others. Like the opening line, you're not going to sound serious, right? Because that's a greeting. So when you're greeting, okay, great enthusiasm, and this is going to be the first time or the first line your examiner is going to hear your voice. So make a very good first impression. Okay? And this one, picture this. This is asking people to imagine. Imagine you're creating a picture. So now you're in storytelling mode. Okay, so the storytelling tone, okay, like once upon a time, that kind of tone. Picture this. You're scrolling through TikTok. So you will be a little slow, not too fast, right? What about here? What about this paragraph? I understand. Those tiny pause. What are you trying to build here? You're trying to build a um mutual understanding. Like I know you guys. I know how you feel. I feel that way too. But it's not true. So again, over here you switch your tone. It's almost warning them, but you must be careful. It's not true, okay? So you see what I'm doing? As you are reading, as you are reading, you are doing this. You can be doing this naturally because you understand the message of every paragraph. Okay? What's what's happening in the chat? Okay, I'm going to let me know if there's anything I can address live, okay?
What we can do is let them read first, and I'm very sure some of the things will surface. There's some repeated questions about whether they should reread the word if they got it wrong. Will they be penalized if they sound anxious? We will handle these later. So all of you, please listen up. We will have a few volunteers read, listen, look at how other classmates of yours are reading. Then you also think for yourself whether it is a good idea to reread, whether it's good to sound nervous, and what happens if you don't do this or that. Okay, let's have some of our classmates read first.
We will cover SBC later on. Okay, later on. All right. So can we have, there are many volunteers. Let's pick somebody whom we have not. Let me see. Yeah. Teachers, you have co-host rights, so you can, Mrs. Sham, would you like to unmute a student? Have we
Let's have
unmuted?
Morris. I've unmuted Morris.
Okay,
Are you
okay.
online? Morris, are you unmuted? Hello?
Hi, Morris. We cannot hear you, Morris. Could it be your microphone? What about, let's unmute another student. Let me take a look.
Should we have Jing En?
Okay, okay.
Jing En, can you hear us? Let's do a sound check.
Hi, good morning, teachers.
Hello, morning.
Good
What school
morning.
are you from?
I'm from Woodgrove Primary.
Excellent. And how did you do for reading aloud recently?
14.
Okay, very good. When you are ready, you may start reading. Okay, so while Ting En is reading, I hope all of you will pay attention to how she's reading. Also, if you have any opinions, wait till she has finished the entire passage before typing in the score. The total score up for grabs is 15 marks. You may start once you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Mrs. Han and fellow classmates. Picture this. You are scrolling through TikTok when a video of an adorable guinea pig munching on a carrot appears. Mom, can we get one? You immediately ask. Sounds familiar? I understand. Those tiny paws, the way guinea pigs squeak for food, how terrapins paddle about in their tanks. But here's what those viral videos don't show: the reality of pet ownership. Consider this: a guinea pig lives up to 8 years and needs daily vitamin C, fresh vegetables, and hay. Terrapins can live up to 40 years. Are you ready for that kind of commitment? Then there's the cost. Veterinary bills in Singapore are not cheap. A simple consultation can cost $50 to $80, while emergency treatment runs into hundreds. Add food, bedding, and you are looking at thousands of dollars over their lifetime. In not you can abandon when examination becomes stressful, no interest, daily attention, and love. So, before you ask your pet, am I ready for the response? If the answer is not soundness, perhaps stick to watching mine instead.
A little grainy, but I think the gist of it we can hear.
Yeah.
Teacher
Okay.
Monica, how many marks would you give Ting En?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I will put her in the upper band when she
Yes.
started. Then as I listen, I realize she needs more variation in in tone, pitch, that would be more interesting as a narrator because you're giving a speech, right? A speech has energy. A speech should be motivating. A speech shows enthusiasm. So if you ask me for the marks, I think it's around 12 or 13. I'm not too sure about the last part because, we're on record, online. So I'm likely to give, say, 13. Granted that she doesn't show mistakes as I can't hear the later part. Yeah, but I think there should be more variation. Yep.
In general, I think Mavis, she made no errors. In terms of reading the words, no errors, right, Mavis?
I heard veterinary. Veterinary. It sounded like veterinary. I think there was a missing syllable in that word, if I'm not wrong, because again there was a bit of jerkiness because of the connection. So uh the T endings though. So for Jing'en, are you still there? Jing'en, if you can remember, just articulate your T endings a bit more obviously, okay? So that they are not they especially at the end of sentences for them to be a little more obvious. But I did hear her stressing. She did express and stress on certain words like 40 years. So she did try to sound surprised, right? So there is effort in varying her emotions and tone. But like teacher Monica said, you can do even more. You can do even more. The energy level became slightly lower as we went down. So let's keep the energy level high throughout the text. Okay?
Actually, the
Okay,
main
thank
thing
you,
is the pauses. Okay, so Ting En, you see this, picture this, you did very well. You were able to sound cautionary when you should. The pace is generally okay. But what happens is this: when you have to read a dialogue, you must pause between the sentence and the dialogue. So you did the picture this sentence very well, but you had no pause between appears and the usual things children ask their mother. Okay, so let me demo this. Picture this. You are scrolling through TikTok when a video of an adorable guinea pig munching on a carrot appears. So the pause is there to tell you then what the children often say. Okay, so I read it again. Munching on a carrot appears. Mom, can we get one? You immediately ask. Sounds familiar? I understand. those tiny paws, the way guinea pigs squeak for food, blah, 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 and all that. So you need to have a little bit of pause. So I feel that she has variation, but because she didn't, she closed the gaps between paragraphs and also between sentences and dialogue, it made it sound like there is no variation. So I was very tempted to give her 14 actually, because generally her voice is energetic.
Yeah.
She brings out this enthusiasm as well as persuasive quality. And when she did the one about treatment runs into hundreds, the daily needs, she actually emphasized that. Okay. The other thing for all of you to read is this. There are some words that are loaded with gravity, with seriousness, like emergency, hundreds, not cheap. So you need to slow down, not speed up. For example, Ting En, you read it as, but here's what those viral videos don't show. Now, because this is cautionary already, all of you can do this. But here is what those viral videos don't show, because you're saying, hey, do you know there is something beyond what you see, you think that is fun, the reality of pet ownership. Slow down, because this is what you want to hit home. And when you ask people to consider this, the word consider must be slowed down. Consider this. A guinea pig lives up to 8 years and need daily vitamin C, fresh vegetables, and hay. Terrapins can live up to 40 years. Are you ready for that kind of commitment? Right? Because you want your listeners to reflect, because they will be guilty of, oh, yes, I'm the kind to ask for pet whenever I see a cute animal. So pace yourself a little better. This is why I would agree that ultimately the score could be 13 instead of 14. Okay, these are the final points. Thanks.
Can I just add a little something? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's 3 P's to summarize Mrs. Sham. The first P is power. So when you speak, there must be energy, right? The second P is really the pause. I think I have the problem. The problem was pointed out clearly. So between paragraph, because this was written as Mrs. Sham read until here, right? Familiar. Sounds familiar? 2-second pause. Make it a little longer. I understand. Those tiny pause. Yeah, so the pause is very important. And the last P is pace. Vary your pace. Thank you.
Thank you, Teacher Monica. Okay, thank you, Jing En. Can we have another volunteer? Another volunteer for the same text, Okay, so the teachers, Mrs. Sham has demonstrated, Teacher Monica has explained. Now for this second volunteer, apply what the teachers have shared, okay? Let's unmute, Mrs. Sham, you could unmute somebody.
I know of some P5s here. Do you want to listen to primary 5?
Uh,
Zixuan, do you want to try? Zixuan, I've allowed her to talk. Hello, morning.
Hi.
Okay, give
Did
this
you
a
hear
go.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Let's give it a go.
Okay. Good morning, Mrs. Han and fellow classmates. Picture this. You are scrolling through TikTok when a video of an adorable guinea pig munching on a carrot appears. Mom, can we get one? You immediately ask. Sounds familiar? I understand. Those tiny paws, the way guinea pigs squeak for food, how terrapins paddle about in their tanks. But here's what those viral videos don't show. The reality of pet ownership. Consider this. A guinea pig lives up to 8 years and needs daily vitamin C, fresh vegetables, and hay. Terrapins can live up to 40 years. Are you ready for that kind of commitment? Then there's the cost. Veterinary bills in Singapore are not cheap. A simple consultation can cost $50 to $80, while emergency treatments runs into hundreds. Add food, bedding, and proper housing, and you are looking at thousands of dollars over their lifetime.
Most importantly, animals are not stuffed toys you can abandon where examinations become stressful or when you lose interest. They need daily care, attention, and love. So, before you ask your parents for that harmless little pet, consider this. Am I ready for years of responsibility? If the answer is not a resounding yes, perhaps stick to watching them online instead.
Thank you. Thank you, Zixuan. Zixuan, Mr. Sham, Zixuan is your student?
Yes, I've heard her before.
I
She
see,
joined us
okay.
this year. Yes. What do you think, Mavis? I think I leave it to colleagues to score her.
Think firstly, Zixuan has her variety in tone is more pronounced, right? I think my colleagues can agree to that. There is variety. It's more pronounced, it means more so students, it means more obvious. There are certain parts where she will drag out the word because it's really important. And dragging out words is a form of stressing as well. Like thousands of dollars. So when we talk about stressing on words, it doesn't just mean increasing your volume, because I've had students like that. When I say stress on this word, they'll just read it louder. But it doesn't just mean reading it. It could be stretching it out because it's so important. That's what you do, right? So thousands of dollars into the hundreds. So there are various ways to stress on words, and I think those came across. Those were very obvious that she was trying to convey her concern. She was warning, or she was expressing her emotions. And towards the end, there was variation again, right? So she went back to a cheerful tone, because before that she was saying it's very serious, guys. This is very serious. You cannot take this. They are not toys. And when she goes to the last paragraph, she switched her tone. So that's variety, right? So she went back to her perky self. So before you ask your parents for that little pet, this little pet was read in a soft and gentle way. And I was telling students as well, words have weight, words have size. So when you say something is wide, you stretch it out. When something is small, you don't say small, right? So words have size, words have weight. Some words are just softer sounding, some words are heavier sounding. Okay, so she did all these appropriately. Uh, she did all these appropriately. Now, the word here is guinea pig. So she said guinea. Now, let's say it's just this word. This was the only word that was slightly misread, right, throughout. But does that mean that now because of this word, I'm going to give her 14? If she has done everything perfectly well, am I going to deduct her 1 mark? I won't, I give her 15. I'll give her
Yes.
15.
She actually also added one word, I think treatments, emergency treatment. She said
Ah.
treatments. So all of you must hear this, because some of you were talking about, should I reread words? So should this person read guinea pig and redo every time she misreads? So all of you must hear this. If you are in agreement, when we look at the rubrics again, Mavis, turn to the rubrics. The teacher will then look at the other examiner and say, is it clear and consistently good? Because every passage has about 200 words. Is it clear and consistently good? All of you agree? Band 1? Is it fluent? Did she stop in the middle of nowhere, stammered and sounded nervous? Did she have appropriate pauses? Did she hesitate? Is there variation? So if all these are checked, then there is no reason to further minus 6 marks or 7 marks for each and individual thing that you hear. Okay, so this is how the rubrics work. It is not counting 10 mistakes, 20 mistakes, or whether you pause incorrectly at 5 different places. It is the overall impression that will give you the total mark. So Mavis, the mark you give is
15.
14,
I'll give
yeah?
her 15. I didn't catch that treatments part. So is it in the exam, right? But she didn't
Zixuan,
catch
how
it.
did you do for your school oral examinations? Can you tell us?
Last time I term 2 exam, I got full marks.
Okay, fine. Okay, thank you. Very brave of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Zixuan. Okay, so this is class presentation, reading to your classmates. Now the next one, sometimes the consonant sounds, because we are online, I did hear consonant sounds. I did hear sounds like ask. I heard the K. So the impression that she gives me is she pronounces it. There are sometimes, I think we mentioned this in previous webinars, when there are all these T and Ks side by side, right? Like we pronounce the last one, or else we'll become jerky in our reading. Okay? Now let's take a look at this one, the reading aloud practice 2. Again, to a group of students, but you are now not just a random student, you are someone in a leadership position, right? As the president of the volunteer club, speak to your CCA members about an upcoming activity. You have prepared a script. So, what activity? Is it something that you're excited about? Okay, is it something that you want them to participate in? So, let's take a look at this text, okay? Especially if you haven't taken a look at it. Good afternoon, everybody. This is greeting. So, we want to do it with great energy. Okay, now seems to be some information. Next Friday, our CCA will be visiting, so on and so forth. Now, there's this sentence here. It's a chance to brighten someone's day. And there's an exclamation mark here. So how are you going to read this line? Okay, how are you going to read this line to persuade them or to make them feel excited like you? Then over here, there's some information. To prepare, think of a few questions. And over here we see Singapore's past. And now I'm not telling a story, but I'm sharing with you what these elderly told me when I visited them, fighting in World War II, okay, Singapore's independence. So we are like in slightly storytelling mode, right? I remember he fought in World War II, and she remembers Singapore's independence. So you're going into that storytelling mode, okay? Then now, this next paragraph has a different purpose. Come with an open heart. This is a direct message to your CCA members. This is what we should all do. Don't judge. Don't think too much. Just go there, learn with an open heart, okay? Engage with an open heart. And we share, there's this part here, some residents rarely have visitors. Okay, so you can sound more empathetic. Then you can sound a little more cheerful here. So be empathetic and encouraging in this paragraph. And then after that, of course, factual information, bring this and that. And lastly, your last chance to pitch this idea to them and to encourage them to participate with the right mindset. Okay? So purpose, inform CCA members to prepare. CCA members are your audience. So you're reminding them this is how we should behave because of the kind of people we are going to meet there. And lastly, it's informative and encouraging because you are sharing some important information about the residents over there, okay, to prepare them mentally. All right. Let's have different volunteers, different student speakers this time around, okay? Let's see. If you're raising your hand, we might pick you. So, some unfamiliar names. Kara, there's a Kara. Kara.
Hello, teacher. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Kara. Hello. Where are you from, Kara?
Choa Chu Kang Primary School.
Choa Chu Kang Primary School. And how have you been doing for your reading aloud?
For the prelim, I got 14.
Mm-hmm. And why did you not get full marks? Did your teacher tell you?
I'm not sure, but I think in the first line or something, I stumbled and replaced a word or something.
Oh, I see. Okay, no problem. Let's hear you this morning, okay? Let's see how you are going to deliver the speech to your CCA members. And for the rest of you online, listen carefully, okay? And let's see if Kara expresses the message clearly using the right tone and expression. Okay, Kara, once you're ready, you may begin.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Next Friday, our CCA will be visiting Sunshine Elderly Home. This is more than just another school activity. It's a chance to brighten someone's day. We'll help clean the activity areas and interact with the residents. To prepare, think of a few questions to start conversations. You can ask what they enjoy eating, their hobbies, or what they remember about Singapore's past. On my last visit in 2024, I met Mr. Lim, who fought in World War II, and Madam City, who remembers Singapore's independence. These residents are like living history books. Most importantly, come with an open heart. Some residents rarely have visitors, so your presence alone means a lot. Don't be discouraged if conversations are slow to start. A warm smile and genuine interest go a long way. Often, just listening is enough. Speak clearly and patiently, as some residents may have hearing difficulties. Please bring a snack, tissues, and hand sanitizer and water. We'll meet at the school gate at 2 p.m. sharp and return by 5:30 p.m. This visit may change how you see aging and community. Trust me, you'll leave feeling more grateful and connected than when you arrived.
Okay, thank you, Kara. Teacher Juliana, I'm not sure if you are responding to Q&A, so I'm just asking you. Teacher Juliana, did you manage to hear Kara?
Working concurrently doesn't work. But I did listen
Answering
to her
Q&A
speak.
questions. Yes.
Yeah. I like how she managed to stress on some of the words. I do hear the ending sounds as well, the letter S and all that. I think one of the word that we tend to mispronounce quite a bit is the word often.
Yes.
The T is actually silent, but watching TV, watching YouTube, I think a lot of people whom we listen to pronounce the T. So I think it's good for students to know the T is actually silent. It's often, not often.
Yes. Thank you, Teacher Juliana. I think Kara's strength is in making sure that she sounds all the ending sounds, right? The T and the K's ending. So Kara is very conscientious in that aspect. Okay. So that is good. Now, the thing with that is that when we articulate and when we sound those sounds, we must also make sure that it doesn't affect our fluency. So, for example, let me just look at this line on my last. So if I say, on my last visit in 2024, I met Mr. Lim, who fought in World War II. Because I'm sounding out all the words, all the T sounds like that, my reading becomes slightly jerky, not so smooth, right? So what you can do is, for example, like here, when you see, actually we do this in our daily speaking already. Fought in the war, not fought in the war. Fought in the war. Visit in. Right? On my last visit in 2024, I met Mr. Lim, who fought in World War II. So it's much smoother like that. Okay? So while we do want to sound the sounds, we just have to check that it doesn't affect our fluency. So that's one. The other thing is, I think Kara, because I think you're really focused on the sounding of these sounds, right? The expression or the emotion, I think you can amp it up a little bit. So more variation in terms of tone. Okay. So for example, let me pick a line here. Now, some residents rarely have visitors. So your presence alone means a lot. Don't be discouraged if conversations are slow to start. A warm smile and genuine interest go a long way. So you can slow down. So Kara, you can vary your pace a little more, vary your tone a little more, and then it'll be more interesting. okay, to listen to.
Okay.
Yeah. So like teacher Juliana mentioned, the often that one, history, not history. So it's not three-syllable history. Okay. And when you ask the question here, excuse me, there is a day, I marked out a day. Yeah, it's a chance to brighten someone's day! Exclamation mark. But you went down, so you didn't sound as cheerful. So it's a chance to brighten someone's day. So let's do it. That kind of tone. Okay, it'll be more appropriate. Okay. Any other comments from my colleagues?
You were spot on there. Most importantly, come with an open heart. So when you exhort, when you urge people to do something, you need to also slow down there. And you're right there. Some residents, this is a sad situation. Some residents rarely have visitors. So your presence alone means a lot. So you want to read to inspire your listeners. So there must be, like Teacher Mavis drew some faces there. There's some places you are acknowledging a sad situation. So your tone has to go a little bit lower and sadder. But I think overall, she was very, very careful in her reading. And she did the one to prepare, that paragraph very, very well. When she described whom she met, very convincing.
Thank you, Mrs. Shum.
I would say
Okay.
at least 13 or 14, right? What is the mark you would give?
Yes, I would give 14 for her effort. And maybe my examiner would say 13, and then we'll have to discuss, okay, how much we're going to give her. But I think there's great effort. There is variation, there are attempts to stress on words, but like I said, a bit more, I think that would be perfect.
Yeah, because there are some questions in the chat. I don't know whether you saw. Somebody
Yeah.
asked, what if the examiner doesn't like me? Will she scold me?
Mm.
Now, all of you, please focus. We're here to learn from each other. Teacher Mavis had just shown you the rubrics. Does it say dislike for the person's face, dislike for stammering, dislike for anxious looking students? No such thing. So when you go into an exam hall, I think many of you represent your school for national school games, for debates, and for all kinds of things. Do you go into a basketball match asking yourself, what if the referee doesn't like my face? Is that what you do when you go into battle? No, you give your best. Leave the examiners to gauge your performance and to give you a grade. You do your best, regardless of how you look. This is not a beauty pageant. This is not a personality contest. So I repeat again, clear, consistently good pronunciation. Fluent, you don't stop in the middle of nowhere. You don't obviously change out too many words or misread words very grossly. All will be good. Okay, that's why we are giving 13, 14, and 15 to the 3 students you've heard so far, because overall, it's a very pleasant experience listening to them, and they use the tone that was appropriate to the task.
Yes. Okay. Let's take a look at, I would like to move on to SBC. Okay, I'd like to move on to SBC. I'm also looking at the time. So let's take a look at some final reminders for SBC. I think Mr. Sham, the teachers, they've been replying to your questions. The important thing is do what you can, do what you can control, and whatever you cannot, don't think about it, okay? So listen carefully to the question that's important. You can text your students, say, how long can I remain silent for? Too long? Because when somebody's talking to you, they say, hey, how are you today? Do you say, wait, let me think? No, right? You respond, okay? So we just take a few seconds to gather our thoughts and then we respond. So look closely at the photograph. That's going to affect prompt 1. And when you take a look at the photograph, and in all our webinars, we talk about anticipating the questions, right? What's the theme or the topic when I look at this photograph? Because it will affect what could come out in prompts 2 and 3. Okay? How it relates to experiences, speak clearly, confidently. And it's not about giving the perfect model answer. We know we have models. Models are there for you to read, enjoy, okay, learn, But model answers are not the only way to answer the question. So it is not about giving the perfect answer, okay? Just share your ideas enthusiastically. So when you're given the photograph, take some time to ask yourself, what will they ask me? Usually it's basically what you see. So what's happening? How are the people feeling? What do you think they're thinking? What might they be saying to each other? What's happening before or after this? Would you participate in, would you be interested in participating in such an activity, etc.? Okay? So those are some questions you could anticipate, especially for prompt 1, directly related to the photo. We went through this in great detail in our previous webinars. When you are looking at a photograph, what are you unpacking? So straight away, when you look at a photo, if you can see the people's, their faces, straight away you can tell their emotions, right? If you don't see a face, you only see like a gesture, like crossing of arms, okay, or a hand picking up a wallet. Then you got to infer, what is this person thinking or feeling as they are doing this action? Okay? What they might do next or what happened just before this. If you identify contrasting behaviors, like in the whole class, everyone is raising their hands and there's one student putting his head on the table. That's the contrasting part. Everyone is feeling enthusiastic, but one student. So you can focus on everyone and then contrasting everyone with that one student. So these are just some tips or reminders for you. Maintain eye contact. Students ask this, yes. Maintain eye contact with your examiners, okay? Just to see how they're responding to you, just to engage them. If you need an examiner to repeat or rephrase a question, ask politely. Okay? In the exam, the questions are not phrased in a very convoluted way. They're easy to understand. But if you didn't hear it clearly, you could ask the examiner politely to please repeat the question. All right? Listen, think before you start speaking. And as you are speaking, I was talking to my student about this. They say, teacher, how do I think and speak and think at the same time? Because I need to pause for a while before I think of my next sentence. What you can do, there are a few tricks, I'll call it tricks, some things you can try to do. Firstly, don't speak too fast, right? Pace yourself. So as you are speaking slowly, you are also thinking, what might be the next thing I'm going to say? So when you talk like that, there are no strange pauses. You're just more considered in you're just pacing yourself as you're talking. So there won't be strange, sudden pauses. So don't speak too fast. When you speak too fast, your thoughts can't catch up as well. So that's when you start to say, what did I just say? And then you get stuck. Okay, so pace yourself as you are speaking. If you're given a question and you say, my mind is a bit I'm a bit blur, or my mind went blank. Let me answer the question using an experience first. That's possible. That's something you can do if you really get stuck, because students ask us that. Okay, experiences are real. So frame it in a way to answer the question, then come back to explain and elaborate. That is something you can do if you're caught in that situation, okay? Ideally, we want to use the Pierce structure. So I'm going to share the Pierce structure with you. Mrs. Sham has prepared this for her students, and we're very happy to share this with all of you, okay? Now, over here, we use the Pierce structure, right? The point, explanation, experience, example. So Pierce, say, teacher, no, explanation cannot have examples. That's not true. So use Pierce in a way that helps you. It is not the only way, and it doesn't mean that if you, after you share an example, you cannot explain. You know, you can. Okay, so this is just a guideline. Now, P, we always answer the question first. In my pre-clinic video, I told all of you to look at page 8, right? So this is page 8. When you answer the question for prompt 1, for example, okay, over here, they will ask you something about the picture or how the people are feeling. Answer the question. And then over here, we do recommend this because it helps students to remember how much they have said. So like firstly, secondly, okay, using these to guide your thinking and to help pace yourself. So I have 2 points. Or I just have to say 2 points, actually, it's enough. Firstly, this is my point, I explain. Secondly, and so on. Then I move into a specific example or experience. And this is highlighted because when you share an experience, you don't over summarize it in 2 sentences, right? Tell us, when did it happen? Like when you're writing a mini composition, right? There's setting, characters, climax, problem solving, and then what you learn. So an experience is like that in about 5 sentences. Okay? Then we can reflect or recommend what you learn from the experience. What does this make you think about? Do you think this can be done in a better way? And then a concluding line, just to let the examiner know, I've completed my response for this question. You may ask me the next question. So that's the idea. Okay? So knowing all these is one thing. Now it's the application. The application. Okay? So if you prepared, that means you have some notes, you practice answering. Can you just give us a show of hands? How many of you looked at all 3 and you have responded to them using the peer structure, you have sufficient content?
I'm just curious. We have set 1, 2, and 3. Which one is the easiest, you think? Which one's the easiest? Because different people have different favorite topics, and this is what I find of my students. They have their preferences to the point that they will say, oh, I don't like this kind of picture, so I don't want to practice. Or I only want to practice the kind of pictures I like, or the topics that I like. Okay, that's very dangerous. You're here to learn from each other. And the reason why we have a range of different kind of topics is so that you practice from rather basic to those that could be rather challenging. So what did they put in the chat? Which one's the
first one.
easiest?
The first one. In fact, the questions in the first one are specially asked in this way to help students who are still learning how to respond to a picture prompt. Okay, so like in question 1, we say, what's happening in this photograph? It is more likely for them to ask, how are the people feeling? Would you enjoy being in such a celebration as well? Questions like that. But we have phrased it as what is happening in this photograph just to get you to look at the photo and ask yourself, so what's really happening? Who are these people? How are they related? Okay? So let's take a look. Zoom in. Take a look at this photograph. 3. 3 is 2. You like 2 the most. Okay, there's a variety. When you take a look at the photograph, straight away you look at the people. And do all the people here have similar expression? Yeah. So in terms of feelings, they're all happy. Okay, they're all happy, they're all smiling. Right? Where are they all looking? Besides the boy who is perhaps looking at the camera, the rest are looking at the cake, right? Okay, at the birthday man. Don't call him birthday boy. Okay, he's probably father or grandfather. Okay, he's looking at the cake and he is going to blow out the candles. Where is this place? This looks like a kitchen. Okay, a dining table with food and a cake. This looks like a family. At home, yes. So once you have inferred setting, the people, feeling, okay, family, then we know what's happening in this picture. So who wants to volunteer? This is a very straightforward question, right? Like I say, in the exam, they might ask a more inferential kind of questions, like a question like, how do you think they're feeling? But for a very basic question first, to warm us up, what is happening in this photograph? How would you respond to this question? Can we, let me see. Akiva, I'm going to unmute Akiva, okay? Akiva Sia.
Hello,
Hello, Akiva, let me see. Okay. Hi, Akiva, where are you from?
Konghua School.
From Hua School. And how do you usually do for SVC?
Usually get around 21 or something.
Oh, 21 or something. Okay, that's great. So how would you respond to this question? Just prompt number 1. What is happening in this photograph? And hold on. I would like every one of you here, teachers too, to take note, and then we could share our feedback with Akiva later, okay? So, Akiva, what is happening in this photograph?
The man in the middle seems like he's blowing out some candles on the cake, while the others crowd around him, celebrating. The man in the middle seems to be celebrating his birthday, and the boy beside him seems excited as he stares at the photograph. As he stares at the photo. The rest all focus their attention onto the man, and the man seems focused as he makes a wish. They seem to be having a great time as the man plays some songs on the guitar, and confetti is strewn all over them. I remember once I was just like this at my grandparents' house. They were excited as they blew the candles and we sang the birthday song. Everyone crowded around my grandmother as they congratulated her for reaching her 80th birthday. Everyone was excited as she made a wish and blew out the candles. I would definitely recommend being part of a party celebrating a birthday, as it allows us to celebrate the milestones that the person who is celebrating his birthday has reached. In conclusion, I do feel that the people in the photograph are celebrating the man in the middle's birthday, and he seems to be making a wish at the same time.
Thank you, Akiva. Very commendable effort, right? I'm not sure if all of you heard the attempt at using the peer structure, right? He did have his experience. He explained using what he observed in the photo, experience, reflection and recommendation, and of course a summary line. So that's a very commendable effort. Now, what I later on I'll invite the teachers to share as well, but what I did notice would be the opening line. So what's happening in this photograph? So you began with the line, Akiva, the man in the middle. So perhaps for point, let's give a general statement of what exactly is happening. So what's happening in this picture? I see a birthday party. So just to give us a general idea of what's happening, then we zoom in on the various people in this picture. So that's one thing you could consider for P, okay, the point. Now you mentioned, so there are two men in this picture, right? So at some point you mentioned the men playing the guitar. So if we try to use words like on the left, on the right, in the middle, in the foreground, middle ground, background. We can use words like that to show where we are looking at. Okay, so the man on the right, perhaps the son, all right, or the grandson is playing the guitar. Maybe he's playing the birthday song. Okay, so everyone can celebrate the grandfather's or the father's birthday. So that's something you can do. I think experience is relevant, especially when it's very close to what we see in this picture, but it's your grandmother. The reflection and recommendation is also relevant. I think you recommend that everyone be part of a birthday party like that, okay? Because you get to celebrate the milestones, important family members. So I think that's great. Teachers, any comments, any additional tips for Akiva here?
I just want to commend Akira for using some of the words he's picked up from all our passages, like important milestone. This has been featuring in videos, right? So this is how you actually broaden your vocabulary and you add in appropriate words. Earlier on, teacher Mavis said avoid bombastic words. So you notice Akira used very down-to-earth language, things that are very relatable, very sincere. There's no pretentious words. And I also put in the chat, he was very observant to say that there's confetti strewn all over to add to the liveliness and celebratory mood that is in this picture. So well done there.
Thank you, Akiva. Okay, so that's the picture prompt question, right? What about the next prompt? What about the next prompt? Next prompt is what we call an experience question, okay? An experience-based question. So an experience-based question, does that mean, teacher, that we don't have to use peers, we just do E, the experience? When it comes to an experience question, you can still apply peers. You can still apply peers, okay? So I'm going to just type out what does an experience-based question look like, or how can you organize your ideas. So when somebody asks you, describe a time when you had a lot of fun with your family, under point, you can tell us when, what, when. So the last time I had a lot of fun with my family was at East Coast Park last week. Okay, so that's your point. You just give us a general idea of, oh, okay, there is such an occasion or a time. Then under your E, you give us an idea of what you did there, plus some examples of the activities you did there. Okay, we did this and that, we cycled, we had a picnic, etc. Now, once you have done that, under the experience, in an experience-based question, is what you can do is to highlight key moments. The key moments could be really intense emotions. It could be surprise, it could be fear, it could be worry, it could be happiness, it could be humor. So key moments where something happened. If you are matching this to what you do in composition writing, it'll be like the climax of the story, okay? And then you can reflect. Oh, what did you learn? What did you realize? What did you gain from spending time with your family before you summarize? Okay, so given an experience-based question, you can still do peers. You can still do peers. All right, let's get a volunteer to answer prompt number 2. Let's see. Okay, I'll do the unmuting. Lalita, right? I remember seeing Lalita. She has been raising her hand for some time already. Lalita, hello?
Yeah, hello?
Hi, Lalita?
Yeah, actually, it's my son who will do it.
Is your son there?
Yes, yes, yes. Go ahead, Krish.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, what's your name?
Krish.
Krish. Okay, Krish. Which school are you from, Krish?
Bukit Timah Primary School.
Bukit Timah Primary School. And how have you been doing for your SBC?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay, that's great. I love the confidence. Now, how would you respond to this question? Describe a time when you had a lot of fun with your family.
I had a lot of fun with my family. When after my exam, we went to have lunch at a nice restaurant. During that time, we talked to each other and we got to know a lot more about each other. And I really felt that helped me bond with my family members. And I also have fun whenever I talk to people, as it helps me learn new things about others that I wouldn't have learned if I just talk to the same people that I know. In conclusion, I love talking to others, and I like meeting new people and learning new things.
Okay,
Are
thank
you
you.
very nervous? Are you very
Uh,
nervous, Krish?
a bit,
Now,
yeah.
Yeah,
look at the screen. This
no
is
problem.
why this is very good, because a lot of students are also putting in the chat, what if I'm too nervous to think? So, Krish, now we give you a chance. You look at the screen. What could you have done better just moments ago? Is your
So,
answer the fullest you could have given?
Yeah, I feel like I could have elaborated a bit more
Elaborate about what?
about how I interact with others, not just why.
What is the question? Is it about interacting with others?
But yeah. So I
No, the
can
question is describe a time when you had a lot of fun with your family. So I want all of you to think this. Don't panic. We have done such things for composition before. A memorable outing, a memorable encounter, an enjoyable meal, an enjoyable occasion. So Krish, what should the bulk of your answer be about?
my experiences with my family.
So it is to do with the 5 W's and 1 H. Where did you go? When was this? Because the question is describe a time. We don't know which time or when. So you have to be very, very specific there to throw in examples so that your appropriate and wide vocabulary comes out. So the 5 W's and 1 H. Teacher Mavis had tagged it on the screen under P and E. So you went to a restaurant. What kind of restaurant was that? What did you eat? What did you chat about? Because after a while, you started repeating that you're really good at talking to people. What about that time did you enjoy? So again, bringing back to composition. How do all of you end your composition? It's just, oh, this outing will be etched in my memory. Is that what should you reflect about? So Mavis, let's go back to the picture. What are some of the broad topics that are attached to pictures that feature family? Can all of you tell me? What are the topics you think? Sometimes you have to think compo topics. Family bonding. Very good. What else? What is the underlying moral of the story here?
Like we should spend time with our families.
Yes, precious family time, togetherness, celebrating important milestones, like the previous student said, a celebration, friendship, having pure fun. So when you get to your P, okay, so you have to state when this occasion was, where you went, then you have to describe the details. Then after that, you don't just go straight to all in all, I'm good with talking to people, and then you went off point actually. You actually went off point because the main focus here is spending time with your family, highlighted in green. So reflect on that. Then after that, maybe have one line to say, I think it's really important for all of us to spend time with our family because everyone's time on this earth is limited, isn't it? Sometimes we will never see friends and family again if they migrate overseas, or sometimes, unfortunately, if they move very far away from us. So all in all, one of my favorite memories is of the time I had, okay, was it a lunch or dinner with my family at this restaurant for which occasion? So instead of panicking, all of you, you know the PEERS. Use your fingers because you don't need to put your hands on the table if you're very nervous. Press down each time you finish one point. Okay, P, what's the point? I recall a time, blah, blah, blah. Okay, during, then you explain. During this special dinner, I recall we ate, okay, what dishes you ate. Some of my cousins cracked silly jokes over blah, blah, blah. I shared about how anxious I was about PSLE. In general, my uncles and aunts were very supportive of me. We had a fun time, blah, blah, blah. And then what you realize, how important it is to have family support, to be surrounded by loved ones always. And all in all, sum up. Okay, now you see when you do that, you will have at least 10 sentences, not 5 or 6. So I hope you learned this today and you're jotting it down somewhere.
Yep.
Thank you, Krish. Thank you, Mr. Sham, for your explanation. So, if you're wondering where the models, we're going to upload the models later on after the webinar, okay, so that we can focus on what you can come up with on your own when you are seeing these prompts. Now, let's have somebody try prompt 3. So prompt 3, it's quite different. This is the ways kind of question, right, where you have to come up with some ideas or strategies or methods. suggest them, and share why they will work. So what are the ways to strengthen bonds between family members? You are going to state or share methods plus why they work. Okay, that would be your explanation. So again, we are going to use the peers structure. We are going to use the peers structure when answering this question. Okay, so I've typed out peers here just as a visual reminder. Let's have a volunteer. Okay, let's have a volunteer. Nandana, I've not heard her speak. Nandana?
Hello.
Hi, Nandana.
Can I start speaking?
Yes, just introduce yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from Compassville Primary School.
And how have you been doing for SBC?
Quite alright. I got band 1 for my last exam.
That's great. Okay, let's hear your response and we will, my colleagues and I will give you some tips and advice, okay? Okay, Nandana, what are the ways to strengthen bonds between family members?
I think there are quite a few ways to strengthen bonds between family members. One way is to spend time with them. By spending time, we can interact with one another and improve our understanding of one another. This is important as a strong bond stems from understanding. Me and my family members often eat together. When we eat together, we're spending time with one another and we normally converse with one another while we eat our food. I find that this is a good way to improve our understanding of one another to have a strong bond. Another way to strengthen bonds is by participating in a shared hobby. When the family does something together, we can promote teamwork and enjoyment. Another way to strengthen bonds between family members is to create family traditions. My family has a monthly game nights where and all of us are free and we play some games together. One of our favorite games are Monopoly, Uno, and many others. When we play these games together, we we feel comfortable, relaxed, and we also improve and strengthen our bonds. I remember last year one memorable occasion where I strengthened bonds with my family members. It was it was during the December holidays where we were all free. We had decided that we would do an activity together that we all enjoy. That day, we all worked together to cook dinner for the whole family. It was an enjoyable experience as we managed to spend time with one another and engage in an enjoyable activity that all of us like. Through that experience, I managed to strengthen the bonds with my family members. All in all, I think everyone should spend some time with their family members to strengthen bonds so that everyone can be happy and excited about spending time with their family members.
Yes. Thank you, Nandana. Very commendable effort as well. Despite the excitement I can feel in your voice, you tried to pace yourself, okay? Try to remain calm in your response. I think that's very good. That's how we regulate ourselves, right? Once we get a bit excited, okay? But she was still very clear throughout her response. Did she use the peer structure, ladies and gentlemen? Were you listening? Because when we use peers, we don't say it out loud, right? But you can hear that she did answer. She did begin with, there are a few ways, and she gave us 3 ways. The first way came with some examples, okay? Eating with family. The second one was participating in a shared hobby or activity. And the third one was creating family traditions like game night. So she had 3 ideas followed by experience. So a time when her particular specific time when her family did something really enjoyable together. Now, if I have to give you a little tip, I think under reflection, maybe we could extend it a little bit more. When you spend so much time with your family, how does it make you feel? Does it make you realize it could be because it's so rare to spend time with your family, realize how precious these moments are, how important family is. Okay, if you do not spend time creating family traditions or participating in shared hobbies, what would happen to your family, you think? So I think under reflection, we can extend a little bit more, because I think it was a sentence that was repeated. You talked about, again, it's important because it strengthens bonds, and that was mentioned a few times in your response. Okay, in your response. So I thought you could give us, if you're sharing something with the examiner, a realization, uh, or even a recommendation, because that's under R as well. What do you think everyone should do, despite being very busy? What everyone should do to keep the family strong? Okay. Teachers, any other comments for Nandana?
Very brave. I think some students pointed out some grammar slips here and there, and this is common. Don't say me and my family and I. Okay, if you get this wrong, you will lose marks for your paper 2 as well. Okay, just little reminders in her excitement to express herself. I think there were some slips, but not a big problem, because overall, let's go back to the rubric, because some of them are counting slips. That's not the purpose of it. So the same thing, how do you actually score for SBC? Let's get grounded on this. Well developed. So you ask yourself, did the student you just heard, did she develop everything? Was it detailed, thoroughly explored, appropriate vocabulary, things related to treasuring family, spending time? Did she purposely use big words that were irrelevant? Okay, then can you hear what she's saying? Clear pronunciation. Can you understand, or you can't catch what she's saying? And very well, extending the conversation. So where's the extending the conversation? I feel that family gatherings are very important. She did reflect on the value of it, that everyone should enjoy spending time with their family and interacting. So that is that R that you need to make sure you're in band 1. So to put a lot of queries at rest, what's the difference between band 1 and 2? Some teachers have told their students, experience is optional. I think we've made it very clear. Experience is not optional, because the minute you think something is optional, you fall into band 2 and lower. And then some of you will say, how many seconds should I take to think? Can I ask the examiner to repeat herself or himself? Okay, fine. You don't hear it the first time. We say the question again. But if you keep doing this, to an examiner, it can sound like interacts well only with encouragement, or reasonably well with some encouragement. Do you see that? Responding appropriately to the prompts. So band 2 is for those who are doing just enough. You're scratching the surface. You're just answering because you have to answer. You're just answering only. I'm just going to do one sentence of PEERNS, 5 sentences, and that's it. Or not even 5 sentences. Some of you insist on just point, very vague details, and all in all. So happy to just say all in all. Then you will fall to band 2 and 3, unfortunately. Because according to what we showed you, the AO2 and AO3, personal responses are well developed, not some development, not little development. So the lesser you share, the less relevant vocabulary, like restaurant name, name of cousins, topics you talk about, all these are relevant vocabulary. So the lesser you share, the more you progress to a lower mark.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the difference. So if you use PERS properly, because we've had students who use like PRS but 5 sentences in total, that's still not properly, right? Each one has to be fully expressed. Okay, so when you explain something, provide examples, give us the details, about 10 sentences total. Okay. Will there be numbers in the reading passage? Yeah, there could be numbers, measurements, and so on that could appear in your passage. Okay, so just read out. There's nothing special you need to do when talking about numbers. All right, Let's move on to the second one. The second one. Okay? This time round, we are no longer asking you what is happening in this picture. We're asking you, what do you think the participants are feeling in this class? Okay, so again, very quickly, what's the setting? What's the setting? Art class, classroom. Okay, who do you see over here? You see a teacher. You see some students. They are seated in a row.
Then I have a very naughty question. Some students will say, I decay. I don't know. I don't like art. I'm going to so fail this. Is it? And can anyone tell me what are the forms of putting things on a canvas? What kind of paints have you been taught in school? Do you know nothing about painting? What are some words related to painting? Put it in the chat. As many as you can think of. A whole row of it. So this is what you do when you do preparation. I think maybe we have to also remind them, what do they do with the 10 minutes? Do they just, because I've got students, even for the prelims lately, they look at the passage and they say, can I start now? I say, have you prepared? Yes, I have. And then they get 10 out of 15. And when it comes to SBC, they look stunned. They say, I don't know what to say. I wasn't expecting to answer this. Can I think? Acrylic painting, water, brush strokes, palette, art tuition, art enrichment, oil pastel. Very good. Soft brush. Very, very good. Yes, do your school teacher some justice. All of you have done art and craft for 6 years. Surely it cannot be IDK and I have no idea. Okay, so when you practice, what you need to do is, you see, like just now we had a family photo. Then you must think, okay, if this is compo, it is family bonding, memorable outing, memorable this or that. Then now you think compo again. What could be the theme you could be tested if this is a compo picture? Now let's switch mode. Trying new thing. Yes, last year's PSLE topic, trying something new, learning something new, a new skill, a hobby. Anything else? What do you need when you do art and music? Some of you don't like art, but you take music, or you learn an instrument, or you learn a sport. There is something that is central to learning a new hobby. What is it you need? Creativity, patience, perseverance. Everyone writing down? Dedication, expressing yourself, resilience. Yes, I think you cannot say, I give up. I can't draw an apple, so I'm doomed. I can never be a Van Gogh. Tenacity, passion. Very good. So all of you piece everything together. You will need it likely for this topic. Okay, so maybe today, maybe we train them to generate predictions, even though they have questions, because other things could come up. Actually, for the previous question, I had meant to set this. Are receiving gifts the most important thing for you during a celebration? What do you think? We could have asked you that, to make it really very difficult. Do you think receiving gifts is the most important thing when celebrating an occasion? Right? Because you do hear people say it's the thought that counts. So on your own, maybe you want to practice this challenging question. Are receiving gifts or eating the most important thing when you go for a gathering? Right? Because for some people is, yay, I want to eat up all the sushi rolls. Or I can't wait to see what I receive. Are these the most important things? So again, back to values. How much you value of your family above the material things that you have. Okay, so are we ready to go? I think now they can start. You choose.
Yes. Let me pick somebody. Wow, lots of hands today. I've not seen this person before. Adrija or Adria. The J might be a Y sound. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how do I address you?
Adrija.
Adrija. Hi, Adrija. Where are you from? Sorry?
Bukit View. Bukit View.
Bukit Timah Primary School. Is it?
Bukit View. Yeah. Yeah.
Bukit View, I think.
Bukit View. Okay, because it's a bit the connection might be a bit unstable. Okay, Adrija, could you answer this question for us based on this picture, right? How would you respond using PEERS? Using PEERS, how would you respond to this question? What do you think the participants are feeling in this class?
I think the participants are feeling really happy and concentrated as I think they really enjoy doing art and I think they they all have a very big passion for art. I also think they feel very concentrated as they seem to be painting really beautiful paintings and really seem to enjoy it. I have a similar experience to this when I was in art class once. I used to not like art as much, but but once when I started drawing, I really seemed to enjoy it as I realized I was actually good at art, and I was able to express my feeling through art. Um, I think that
Rija, are you moving on to R already? Are you about to share a reflection with us?
my bit my connection is a bit bad.
Ah, okay, okay. No problem. But I can hear you now.
Okay. Um,
Did learning, you mentioned in your experience that you didn't like art at first and then you enjoyed learning it, right? So what do you realize about, or what do you gain from participating in art classes like the one we see in the picture? Or do you think everyone should, whether they are good in art or not, just pick up a brush and start painting? What do you think?
I think if you have a passion for art, you should totally go to art class um, and feel your passion. But if you don't enjoy art as much, I think you can find other hobbies. But as a person who really enjoys art, I now have art classes every week, and I find it very enjoyable as I get to um, I get to paint really pretty paintings, and after I do the paintings, I feel very proud of myself.
Okay. Thank you, Adrija. Very commendable effort. Now, Adrija, you did mention all your inferences, right? So when we look at a photograph, when we look at a photograph, we we observe, infer, and relate. So what you observe would begin with the sentence I see or there is, because that's exactly what you observe. So Adrija did a lot of inferences. You were saying you believe they feel happy, they have a passion for art, they are creating these beautiful paintings. Now, there's something I want to correct you. Feel concentrated. We cannot feel concentrated. We can be focused. We are concentrating, but we don't say feel concentrated. Okay, so that's something that you could tweak over there. So, what do I mean by supporting your response for this question, supporting it with more observations? So, for example, when you say, I think they are really focused on painting, how can you tell? Where are their eyes looking? Especially the girl in the foreground, because that's the only person we see very clearly, right? So the girl in the foreground, her gaze is fixed on the canvas where her brush, the bristles of the brush are touching the canvas, and she's painting. It could be a scenery, it could be a landscape. So that's where her gaze is. She has no smile, no expression on her face because she's really focused. So we don't want to bring in what we see here into our response, right? One of her left hand is gripping on to the canvas. Okay, that shows that maybe she's trying to stabilize the frame on the easel. So she's making sure that everything is in order before she creates this painting. So we can refer to what we see in the picture, okay? Adrija, I think that's what you can do a little bit more so that we unpack the picture to a certain extent. Another thing that you can talk about is, remember earlier on we talked about all these things, resilience, dedication. In your reflection, you could talk about it as well. Learning art has made you realize that you're actually a very creative person and that anybody, even if you don't begin, even if you have never learned art or you don't really like art, give yourself a chance and perhaps you'll discover a new talent. So that's what we can further expand in our reflection. Why I'm saying that is because, Adrija, we want to avoid repeating the idea of um, repeating certain ideas of enjoying art and so on. Okay? Okay, I see a lot of the chat is really busy. Uh, thank you, teachers, for responding to the students. More details need. Oh, okay. That's for another student. All right. Could we have another?
I'm just reminding them because
Sham.
you took pains, teacher Mavis has taken pains to type all these at the side. So use them in your answer. Okay. Don't, you see, we're not testing you for creativity and how outrageous new ideas you can have. All these are down to earth things that you can talk about. So weave them in. Mavis, I always tell my own students, don't start by rambling because there was a lot and. So start off properly. This picture shows a workshop whereby several students are painting. From the way they are painting, I can tell that they are very focused on the activity. Then firstly, the girl in the foreground. Learn how to use words like that. Foreground means the person closest to you. Background would be people standing at the back, like the teacher who is holding a palette, the one that is in a dark dress. So go into details. Use words like, firstly, I think she's very focused because her eyes are very, they are focused or centered on the canvas. Some of you might even say, from the way she's holding her paintbrush, you can see that she's a rather steady painter. She's very patient and she's hoping to perfect this painting. Perhaps, can all of you guess, what do you think she's drawing? Is she drawing an animal or a landscape? These are interesting things you can weave in. I think she's trying to draw mountains, perhaps, and she's hoping to bring them to life with her brush strokes. You see, I'm using acrylic brush strokes. Her palette is also filled with some colors. So perhaps after she completes painting the mountains, she will go to drawing the streams or the rivers at the bottom of the canvas. All these are little things you can do because not everyone likes art. But whatever you can observe, if you can put it in, it counts as explanation. And then certainly whether you like art or not, that is for you to share your experience later.
Thank you, Mrs. Sham. Okay, let's take a look at, so we were talking about similar topics, right? So the next question, it's a personal opinion, personal likes or dislikes sort of question. So we have experience questions that are like mini compositions. Now for questions like that, when you say, do you enjoy? Please do not talk about anyone else. Do not say, students enjoy painting. No, do you enjoy it? So you can say, yes, I enjoy painting or drawing, or you could say, no, I absolutely hate it. There is no right or wrong, okay? You won't offend anybody by saying that you don't like it. The most important thing is, regardless of what your P is, There must be EERS. That's the most important thing, okay? So let's hear, we are going to get let's get two student volunteers for this question. One, yes, I enjoy painting and drawing. And the other one, no, I absolutely detest it. Let's hear how your responses are like. So for the first volunteer, let's have, okay, I'm going to unmute Nicholas Chan. Nicholas, now all of you are saying I hate painting. Okay. Nicholas, hello, Nicholas.
Hello.
Hi, Nicholas. Nicholas, which school are you from?
Chongfu.
Chongfu. Okay. Nicholas, do you enjoy drawing or painting? Tell me.
I enjoy drawing and painting.
Okay. I'm not asking to respond yet. I'm just checking which category you belong to. Okay, so you are someone who enjoys drawing and painting. Now, the next person we are going to call up, only raise your hand if you absolutely detest it, okay, for the next person. Okay, Nicholas, answer this question to the best of your ability using the peer structure, okay? Do you enjoy activities like drawing or painting? Why or why not?
I enjoy activities like drawing and painting because they help me freely express my feelings and they help me feel relaxed as if you as you can let your feelings command you.
Nicholas, are you still there? I didn't catch what you just said. Let your feelings what? Sorry?
Let your feelings like direct you as to what you want to paint.
Okay. Allow your emotions to guide your brushstrokes. Is it something like that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Please continue. Why else do you enjoy activities like that?
Because when you do activities like that, you will feel you will let your feelings free. Like if you bottle up your feelings, then and then you won't feel good.
Okay. Nicholas, do you enjoy drawing or painting? Can you tell us?
I do.
What do you draw or paint when you get a chance to do it? What do you like to draw or paint?
If you feel relaxed, if I feel relaxed, I will paint mountains or scenery as they feel relaxing, or I paint, or if I'm feeling trouble, I will paint the hustle and bustle of city life.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can you share with us the last time you painted or drew something and it was a very memorable experience? Because now I'm asking you a question that's related to experience, okay? So when was the last time memorable experience of you painting or drawing?
Um, when I drew a environmental painting, it showed the effects of what humans do to the environment, and it shows how more and more animals are dying because of the loss of habitat.
Why do you do this painting? Was it for a competition or a class project? What was it for?
It was for my portfolio to DSA.
Okay. So I'm going to pause here for a while, okay? To help you synthesize all these ideas. So what I'm doing is I'm prompting you, right? I'm asking you questions. What I would like you to try is to take initiative to share these. So let's say it's just the experience part here. So the last time I created a piece of art that I was really proud of was when I did this painting about the environment. It was for my DSA portfolio. And I decided to paint it because, share with me your motivation, because I truly care for the environment. Wherever I go, I see pollution and waste, and it truly troubles me. I wanted to create a painting to express my frustration and my love for my frustration for these problems, and to also show my love for the environment. Do you see what I'm doing, Nicholas? So
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't just avoid giving just single sentence responses. Share with us it's always back to 5W1H, right? Why are you doing this? When did you do it? What did you create? How did you feel about your creation? Okay, in the end, and how did other people respond to your art piece? What did your parents say? What did your teachers say? What did your friends say? You can share all these under experience. Okay,
Actually, there's
Nicholas?
no need to be so stiff about sticking to a
Mm.
painting, isn't it?
Mm,
All of you,
mhm.
let me ask you, when do you draw? I'm very sure you draw every day. Where?
Those
I've
doodling in
got
the textbook.
in the textbook. Some of you keep like little notebooks. I know you would sketch your friends or draw cartoon characters, your favorite anime characters, isn't it? So you don't need to actually say, oh, I once did a painting. Some of you can even joke. Actually, I draw all the time, from doodling stickman figures to drawing pictures that complement our worksheets. Like for example, I've got primary 4 students in my class. If the sentence for vocabulary is about aeroplanes, you draw an aeroplane inside. Some of you do informal drawing. It doesn't need to be something for an exhibition. So relax, okay? Whatever you interpret of drawing or painting, do you use, some people like just to draw with pencils. That's also drawing. Some people like to use highlighters to color, or some of you like to do coloring instead. Not actually drawing or painting, but coloring. So by all means, share. You don't need to say, oh, because it's a canvas, I need to match my experience to canvas. That is not the point of this exercise.
Mm. Yes, thank you, Mrs. Shang. Yeah, it can be it. So earlier on, I was telling students, don't intentionally come up with bizarre ideas to stand out from your friends. But if you respond this question in this way and you say, yes, I enjoy drawing, but I'm not an artist. I'm a doodler. I call myself a doodler because there's not a single empty space in my textbook. They're all filled with my doodles. And then you can share, why do you love doing that, etc. It's very engaging, right? That's very engaging as well. So thank you, Mr. Sham, for giving us suggesting the angle to the students as well. Okay, so like I mentioned, whatever it is under experience, always share with us the intention, the motivation, especially for this question, right? Like, why do you want to do it? It could be because of boredom. It could be because of anger. You just need to get your emotions out on paper, right? Um, how did you do it? Okay, the outcome, and then your feelings. About 5 sentences. Okay? About somebody who hates drawing. Can we have one response? Who hates drawing? Let me see. Let me take a look at the chat.
They
Hates.
won't have trouble because I gave them all the sentence stamps already.
You did?
So those of you who hate drawing, look at the chat. Okay, I've given you
Okay.
what you can
Okay,
possibly say. Yeah, if it's not
all
your
right.
cup of tea, be frank. Okay, because some students say, isn't it lying? You don't need to lie. Then you be frank about it. Why purposely pretend you like art when you don't?
Okay. So instead of getting a student to respond, I'm going to paste what Mrs. Sham typed up in the chat, okay? So that we can move on to the next question. So if you don't like something, no, it is not my cup of tea. This is a very common phrase. Learn it, okay? There are 2 reasons. Firstly, secondly, and talk about a time where it was very traumatizing for you. And then what you prefer to do, recommendations.
I was put off drawing one year. I remember I was in kindergarten. I think I must have been in a bubble of some sort. The teacher singled my coloring out and she screamed. It was kindergarten 2. Who came up with a blue lemon? I have no idea why I drew a blue lemon. It was a lemon, obviously, but it was blue in color. And the whole class burst out laughing. So I was nicknamed the Blue Lemon for a while because I obviously had no semblance, my drawing didn't look like what lemons look like. So sometimes you may have very strange experiences like that. When adults question why you draw this that way, sometimes it puts you off art. But as you grow up, you don't need to go for classes. You can always draw in your own sketchbook. And if you really don't like it, then share what you like instead. See, I put there. In general, all hobbies are relaxing, right? And so long as you have passion for something, it can go beyond art. So I definitely would rather, so some of you say you rather play a sport or you rather play music, go ahead and share. It is better than pausing, stopping, and trying to fix a scenario to match what is in the picture.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Shum. So I've labeled them. You can take them down. There's still some time. We are going to look at question 3. What are the ways to develop creativity in children? So again, we're looking at methods, right? A strategy or something that you would suggest that children could do to encourage, or schools could do to encourage children, and then why you think it works. So when it comes to ways, always tell us why you think it works. Let's have a student volunteer. I'm going to unmute somebody. Let me see. Janual Lim. Janual Lim. Hi, Janual. Did you change your mind? You don't want to raise your hand anymore? Okay, it's okay. Another student. Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Hello. My name isn't Amanda. My mom is Amanda, but
Oh,
I'm
your mom's
Jono.
hand. You are?
Yeah, I'm
What's your
Jono.
Juno? Okay, hi Juno. Which school are you from?
I'm from Rosai.
Rosa, and how have you been doing for SBC?
SBC, I'm not doing so well. I got a 13 last, like my prelims, but my reading I got 14.
Okay, all right. So let's see what we can do to help you out. My reminder to you is use the peer structure, okay? And under ways, give me 2 to 3 ways. Can you do that? I'm buying you some time. Firstly, secondly, okay? If you can have a lastly or a thirdly, it is okay. About 2 to 3 ways before you share a relevant experience about how you develop your creativity. Okay? So think about a time when you did something and after that you go, hey,
Yeah.
I'm actually creative. And a reflection and this. So each one, I'm not going to tell you how many sentences. Let's hear you first. So Amanda, once you are ready, what are the ways to develop creativity in children?
I think that creativity can be developed in children by a few ways. Number one is being able to picture many different interesting things in your mind, whether it's fictional or non-fictional. I think that having this skill is important as it really helps you to be more creative in whatever you do, even in such as drawing or any school projects. Next, actually is something that I do regularly, and that is using my phone.
Oh.
I think that using your phone is like a gateway to a whole new world. By using your phone, you can actually use different apps such as maybe Netflix to watch shows or YouTube to be able to expand your mind to have more ideas. So I think that those are some ways to develop creativity in children. Uh, just a month ago, I was working on a school project with a couple of my friends. We were working on a project uh to draw a poster on protecting the environment. My friends and I, we had no ideas. Our minds were blank at first until we until I had an idea. I went to go and ask one of the artists in our class. But then she wouldn't help. She wouldn't help us, and she told us we had to figure it out on our own. So at night, as I used my phone, I suddenly realized that there were so many other things that I could draw or paint on the poster to help me be more creative in our artworks. So when I went back to school, I told all my friends about the ideas that I had for the poster, and they really liked it. So when we finished the poster and we handed it in to our principal and our teachers, they actually liked it also. And in the end, it was on our school, the walls and corridors. All in all, this photograph is very interesting as it shows as it shows that anybody can be very creative themselves.
Okay. Thank you, Juno. Juno, we don't have to refer to the photograph for prompt 3 anymore, okay? So don't worry about that. Now, you commendable effort. I think you really tried your best to elaborate, especially in terms of the experience, right? You shared with us this time where you had to exercise creativity. Now, something I'd like to share with you is you give interesting points in your explanation. Your first one was what children can do to develop creativity is to just imagine fiction, non-fiction in their mind, create pictures. Now, one question I want to ask you is what can we do to have this vivid imagination? So what some people do is they look at art, they read books, right? So these are some ways there's some ways you can use to then develop this vivid imagination. The second point was very interesting. You say phone, and a lot of students in the chat, they agree with you. They like to use their phone as well. They said, yeah, phone, because and use the vocabulary was appropriate, right? It's a gateway to a whole new world, to everything that's outside of your home. So you mentioned a few examples, Netflix, YouTube, helping you to expand more ideas. If you can, Juno, talk about how did YouTube make you a more creative person? Did you watch videos on how to create machines? Do you look at videos on experiments? Okay, so give us some specific examples to boost your response, okay? And then after that, the school project under reflection, share with us, through projects like that, not only you, but your classmates also get to show their creative side. And anyone can be creative. You don't need to be an artist to be creative. You can also be a creative thinker. Okay, you could be a creative problem solver. So it doesn't have to always be related to art.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Juno?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Juno. Now, thank you, teachers, for responding to the students in the chat. Okay, let's look at the third one. The third one, to me, it is more challenging than the first two because most of us don't even want to touch soil, right?
Yeah, so
Most
you
kids are
see
like,
the number of hands have gone down suddenly. But we do have a few students who are queued up. They really want to do the question. So we
Sure.
ask them the same thing. What is the compo topic here? What's the compo theme here? Touch grass, no touching grass. Is that the topic? You mean get a compo, write a story, a composition about touching grass. What's gardening? Yes, bonding with nature. So you see picture one, bonding with family. Now you've got environment. The second one is about hobbies and learning a new skill. Trying something new. Wow, very good. Spending time with friends. Yes, actually it's a way to spend time as well. caring for the environment. Which topic is this most relevant to you in school? Is it life skills? Teamwork, maybe making new friends, becoming a florist? Hey, which subject is this? Your academic subject? Science. Yes. Experiential learning, hands-on learning, an interesting learning journey, right? It's not visiting a museum, but perhaps bringing you to the botanic gardens, and then you attend a planting workshop or learn about herbs.
Okay,
Turning
yeah.
over a new leaf. Oh dear.
Very literal, but
Very
literally
little,
turning
great.
leaves.
Okay,
Okay.
then how about plant vocabulary? What do you do when you observe plants actually? Why do you need to learn about plants? What about plants you need to learn? Flora and fauna. Pollination, photosynthesis, the qualities of some plants, right? Some plants are not just for fun, not to look good. What are they for? Can they be eaten? So what is the whole purpose of this workshop, you think? This gardening workshop or learning journey? Shall we change this? We can always change this question to what are the children feeling, or would you be keen to participate in this activity? Why or why not?
We can do what are the children learning? What are the children learning through this activity?
Chloe has been wanting to talk, Chloe Chong. So I will unmute her, let her try.
Okay, sure.
Okay,
let's
Chloe. Yeah.
Let's respond to this question instead. What are the children learning through this activity? Okay, something more inferential. Okay, Chloe, is it? Have we unmuted her?
Yes, I have.
Okay, okay.
Chloe, you can speak. Can you hear? I've unmuted you. You have to unmute yourself and speak into the microphone. Hello, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. What school are you from?
I want to try question 3 though.
You want to try question 3 though? Okay, so we keep her in queue. Mavis, you choose.
Okay, we can. Okay, never mind. Since she is here, let's do question 3 because maybe later on we won't be able to find her anymore.
Actually,
Question
3, if all of you look, what is the similarity between picture 2 and picture 3? What are the ways? Can you see? So what have all of you learned? When people ask you what are the ways, what should your firstly, secondly be? At home, what parents can do? In school, what teachers or art teachers or science teachers can do? What about community? What about other initiatives you can think about? So don't panic, okay? Actually, at the end of the day, the topic just becomes broader. And of course, you might get a question like, do you think it's important to connect with nature? Why? It's the same way. Is it important to connect with your friends and family? It's just that the topic is different, but the way you answer will be very similar. So that's how some of you can practice through question types.
Okay, so Chloe, question 3, it is. What are the ways to encourage children to connect with nature? Mrs. Shaw, were you saying something? Sorry. Okay, what are the ways to encourage children to connect with nature or enjoy learning about nature? Chloe, once you're ready, yep.
I think there are many ways to encourage children to connect with nature, but one of the ways to encourage children is to organize outdoor learning trips. These trips can include activities such as visiting natural reserves, going to beaches for cleanups, or even exploring community gardens. Being outdoors, children can not only see plants and animals up close, but also understand how these how nature works and feel more responsible for protecting the environment. For example, I remember once during primary 3,
my school organized a trip to East Coast Park. I saw a lot of crabs, seashells, and seagulls. But then, even amongst these animals, I saw a lot of trash on the shore. This made me realize how much wildlife we have in Singapore, and we should also protect it. I think outdoor learning trips are more effective than just reading about nature in books because we can use our sense to experience it. In conclusion, outdoor learning trips are fun and meaningful way to help children connect with nature and learn to appreciate more of it.
Okay, thank you, Chloe. That was a very organized response, right? Very organized response. The sentence structures are mostly accurate, very clear pronunciation and articulation as well. Now, earlier on, I'm not sure if all of you were listening closely. When she did the explanation, she didn't just stop at one way is this. She gave us examples, right? And she explained and she
She
elaborated.
said going to nature reserves, not natural
Yeah.
reserves, nature reserves.
Yes. Nature reserves. She said natural reserves.
And
Yes.
even visiting community gardens. I think that's a very interesting point because I know in many estates, there are some people who take the initiative to create a green space, maybe near the residence corner. Sometimes there'll be lots of plants, and some residents would take pains to prune the plant, to trim them, and even to label the herbs that they're growing. So definitely, you don't need to go to an expensive park or to go all the way very far. Exploring community gardens is one way to learn about plants itself.
Yeah, and even in school, right? All of you have school gardens.
Eco pond. They have eco
Eco pond.
pond and school gardens.
Yeah, I know some schools they do plant like tomatoes, chilies, and all that. They have their
Yes,
own
my
little
son is
crop.
in the environment club. So what he does is they grow things like kangkong. And I think 2 or 3 times a year they harvest it and then they sell it to raise funds to give to the canteen cleaners in the school. So they give them food. That means vegetables to cook and also like a little token ang pao to thank all the cleaners for keeping their school clean. So these are some very interesting initiatives some schools already have.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Shang. Okay. Next, let's go back to number 1. The children, we are doing this question. What are the children learning through this activity? Does that mean that you don't have to say anything about the picture? No. So we always answer the question for P first, and then we go back to the picture to do observe, infer, and relate. Okay? Let me unmute the student. If you are interested, you can raise your hand. There is a Jerome. I'm going to unmute Jerome. Jerome. Hi, Jerome. Are you there, Jerome? Yes. Hello, Jerome. Try to say something.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Hi, Jerome. How are you?
I'm feeling fine, but I feel anxious knowing that PSLE is just like oral is just like a few days.
Hmm. Yes, and you're feeling a bit stressed. Did you say that just
About the oral exam.
Okay. It's normal for us to be feeling slightly anxious or it's normal because to us it's an important exam, right? You have worked for it. But what we can do is then to take action. That's why we're here today. Okay, we're taking action so that we feel more confident. Jerome, how would you respond to this question relating to the picture? What are the children learning through this activity?
I think the children are learning how to plant through this activity. In the picture, I can see two girls who are trying to put the soil, bottle containing a plant into a box, then this gives me the idea that they are trying to plant something. Hmm. Doing this can also teach us that can also teach the children who are doing this in teamwork because they are working together to plant the seeds which are in this soil. They're also expanding throughout their curiosity as they can learn more from this through experimental learning, and they can also bond with nature through this. I have taken part in a similar activity where we had to plant our own biome plant in the school garden. Through this activity, I had satisfied my curiosity and also learned through experiments. Also, I would recommend gardening as a way for children to connect with nature and bond with nature. To sum up, I feel like the children are learning a lot through this activity. Shh. Wait, sorry, it was background noise, and they can also learn how to and they can also learn how to work with each other through this experimental learning.
Okay, Jerome, thank you for your response. Thank you for your response. Now, you mentioned a few good points, okay, in your you mentioned what they're learning. So firstly, you're saying that they are learning how to plant something. So in the oral exam, if we can remember, let's be more precise in our use of vocabulary. So instead of something, you can say replant a pot of flowers. Because you don't see a pot, right? Just see some roots here. So it could be a reporting exercise. Okay, they're trying to report because the plants are now growing bigger. They have to report it. It could be that.
So I have to be more specific in my answer.
Yes.
Yes, when you're more specific with your answer, then stronger words come out. For example, between they're planting some things versus I can see the girl holding a pot of plant. The plant looks rather young, so I'm guessing it's a herb. So repotting herbs can be a very useful activity because as they smell the leaves or the flowers of the herbs, they get to remember qualities of plants such as, what are some herbs you know of? Let's open this to all the students. What kind of herbs do you know of, or tiny plants like that you know of? Or if it's not herbs, do you think they're daisies or small flowers? So between things and a pot of flowers or herbs, herbs and flowers would make more relevant vocabulary than a generic term like plants or things. Do you understand what we are saying here?
Okay.
Very good. They're putting curry leaves, basil, aloe vera, fennel seeds, thyme, and all that. Yes, maybe you can even say perhaps after repotting this plant, they will go around the community garden to learn about more species of plants and learn how to pot them for themselves to bring home, something like that.
Yes. Okay. So I've circled some things in the picture. When this girl is smelling the flowers on this plant, why do you think she's doing that? What do you think she discovered? Well, this girl whom she's working with, this girl is looking and smiling. Could she have suggested for her friend to take a whiff? Okay, take a sniff. Oh, this flower smells nice, or this herb smells nice. Okay? Or fragrant or aromatic instead of nice. But what she's holding, how can you tell that they're doing some sort of gardening? Because of this toolbox over here, a wooden toolbox or mini crate filled with gardening tools. Okay? So, yes, Jerome, when we answer the first question, what are they learning? They are learning to work in teams. Okay. So how are they learning to work in teams? Who is doing what? Using the information in the picture, we talk about it. So I believe they are a pair, they are working, they are partners in this gardening project. The girl on the left is carrying a box of tools, and I think she was in charge of digging up plants from the ground for repotting, okay, or for planting into pots. The girl on the right is her partner, and instead of having any issue with holding soil and plants, she is very enthusiastically holding and asking her partner to take a sniff of the fragrant flower. So talk about how they are working together, what they are doing, okay? So for the last question, tell me about, this is an experience question. Tell me about a learning activity or learning journey you enjoyed. What did you learn? One person, one student. I'm going to just unmute. Neela. Is it Neela? Tamish Neela? Hello. Hello.
Good morning, teachers.
Morning. Good afternoon. You're very polite. Okay. Do I call you Neela or Tamish?
Neela.
Okay, Neela. How would you respond to this question? Tell me about, so it could be either one, a learning activity or a learning journey you enjoyed. What did you learn using the peer structure? Let's go.
I remember going to the science center. My school brought me there, and I had a whale of a time. We went there to visit the Leaf Litter community, and there we were able to place insects in containers and use and watch them under microscopes. I had a lot of fun with my friends, and we ended up learning about different types of insects and different types of species. My friend, she even caught a frog in a container. However, it was very sad that we couldn't see it under the microscope as the frog was easily scared. And the people working there even allowed us to look at different types of fungi and different types of plants there. I ended up learning different types of facts about plants and animals, and even learned things that I could use during examinations. And when I learned about all this, I understood the importance of taking care of our environment, as these animals could also be affected when we litter or we use a lot of paper. As I believe that when we use a lot of paper, we need to cut down more trees. So I believe that when we cut down more trees, there's a loss of habitat for these animals. So I believe that I not only learned about science facts during this lesson at the science center, but I also learned that about different things affecting our environment and these animals. And in conclusion, I learned different types of things that I would remember and learn different types of habits from them. So I learned that I should not use a lot of paper and try to conserve more things so that it doesn't affect the environment, and try to stop littering. So in conclusion, I learned different types of things at the science center and ended up bonding my friends, learning new things.
Okay, Neela, yeah, I think your voice is breaking. It could be a connection issue. Okay, I hope you can hear me. Thank you, Neela. Neela, I was very curious as you were speaking. Are you reading off something, or are you just speaking spontaneously because of the pace? You're quite fast. Okay, so even if you are not reading something or you're not referring to something, we can still pace ourselves so that the examiner has some time or pauses to digest what we have just said. Okay, so you could pace yourself a little bit more, but I think you have given sufficient information of your trip to the science center. At the part where we talked about catching a frog and all that, I believe that was the interesting part in your response. You also shared, so you followed the peer structure. You also shared your reflection about how this experience made you realize the importance of taking care of the environment, and it also helped you bond with your classmates. Okay, so I think it was a rather complete response. You can just slow down a little bit.
Not just
Or
that,
else,
slow down and pace yourself. You
yeah,
know, like you
yes,
say, firstly, we learn about
yes,
animals. Then after that, we learn about fungi. So I
yes,
think all of the students could hear. She repeated the phrase, and so I also learn, and I
yeah.
also learn, and also I think I counted probably 8 times. So cut that down.
Mm.
So if you don't want to repeat yourself, you can say things like, furthermore, in addition, I also learned. After that, we proceeded to observe the creatures under microscope. Unfortunately, because the frogs were moving all about, we couldn't see them very, very close because they couldn't stay still. And then after that, towards the end, you say all in all. Because she did have an in conclusion, but after that,
Yes,
there was
yes.
an and also. So
Yes,
it got a
correct.
little bit confusing to the end.
Mm,
But
mm,
very, very brave try. I really like the details. So please
mm.
shape them into a more organized form and you will definitely score full marks.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you,
thank
Mrs. Sham. I would
Thank
like
you.
to. Oh, thank you. Okay, so where am I going to share all the models for all these questions? I'm going to share it in our Telegram channel. So my colleague would attach those pieces of information there. Now, I'd like to, at this point, invite Moses, our head of innovation, to share with us two tools you can explore in the last few days to just give you the extra boost you need. Okay, so Moses, I'm going to stop sharing my screen first.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate the time. Hope you found some of this useful. Mrs. Sham, Ms. Mavis, they are amongst our most experienced teachers. We have tried to keep the clinic focused on, the really the fundamentals, right? We are about 2 or 3 days away, so there's no point being too anxious about things. You already have it within you, right? So on the read aloud side, we're talking about slowing down. Don't make the cardinal mistake of going too fast because that sets you up for failure. It doesn't let all your potential and all your preparation come through. And then similarly for stimulus-based conversation, preparation is key. Use the framework so that all those great ideas in your head, it can channel out clearly. Okay, so I wanted to just take just a few minutes. I know we're at 1:30 already. I just want to take a few minutes to share with you two things that we have built at MindStretcher. Please use it if you find it useful. We are also making this available basically at cost to all of you. So give me 1 second. Okay. Mavis, you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so guys, yeah, these two tools are readaloud.sg, as I posted in the chat, as well as oral.mindstretcher.com. So let me just quickly share with you. So the first thing that you noticed when we were going through the reading aloud segment is that I think the most tricky part, the trickiest thing to improve on is variation, right? What does sounding sad sound like? What does sounding melancholic sound like? What does it sound like to try to be inspirational during a speech? So that was one problem that we found, because Mrs. Mavis and Mr. Sham aren't free all the time to give you guys great demonstrations. So what we did as a team was to put together this website. Okay, and in this website, if you use the promo code PSLE 2025 at checkout, you get free access to this. Here we actually have 40 practice exercises that you can go through. And in these practice exercises, each of them comes with a audio sample that our team here has spent time listening to and handpicking the best. We use AI to generate these, but we basically generate 10 versions of it before selecting the best one that communicates the kind of expressiveness and variation and the speed that we think is appropriate. So you can listen to those audio samples here, and our teachers have also spent the time to annotate up the passages. So you'll be able to see, we use the REAP framework here at MindStretcher to tell you that there's expression, there's different ways to vary your tone, and all of this has been annotated in the passages. All right, so this is one thing that I wanted to share with you guys. Now, and the way that we find a lot of students using this is that they listen to the audio samples and they mimic it, right? So they are able to hear the full dynamic range of their voice. They can hear what their voice can do, and that already helps. So the next thing that I wanted to share with you is oral.mindstretcher.com. So whereas these are just examples, we know a lot of you may want some feedback. So oral.mindstretcher.com allows you to record yourself doing a read aloud component, and then we give you feedback along the dimensions that we have covered in this clinic. So it covers the same passages that you have access to and read aloud, but this time you get to record yourself. And once you record yourself, we give you an assessment report. Now, the assessment report, I know many of you will want to see, your estimated PSLE mark. Okay, so we have provided it there. But I think the most important thing about this report is all the areas for improvement. And these are very granular. So we talked about speed. So under the fluency area of the rubric, we measure your speed, tell you to speed up a little bit if you can, tell you to slow it down when you're too fast. And we also look for pauses. So, when pauses are one of those low-hanging fruit, right? As long as you see punctuation, if you see full stops, pausing for effect really helps the whole passage breathe. So we look at your speed, we look at your pauses. For expressiveness, we do something very interesting, right? It's hard to teach, so how do we teach it here? First, we look at your volume, make sure that, if you're not speaking loud enough, nobody can hear you anyway. So, come through, express yourself. And then in the variation part of it, we actually use AI to listen to all of the sentences that you have read out. We also compare what you have read out to our AI-generated examples, models. And then we identify the 5 sentences where you can be the most expressive, where you have most to learn from the demonstration, right? So you're able to click here, listen to yourself, click here, listen to how the model, the great demonstration sounds like, and then learn, how to say this sentence a little bit better. All right, so that's for expressiveness. And then finally, we talked a bit about pronunciation today. We are all Singaporeans, so we have learned a specific brand of English. Sometimes we swallow certain syllables. So here we take a look at what you have said, and then we look for common mispronunciations, common areas where maybe L is not as clearly said, where instead of it's, we're saying it's, right? The very short I sound, or where we swallow the T. Instead of countless, we say countless. We've all done that. But for PSLE, what we hope that this section does is that it just gives you a few reminders of the common areas where you are currently making mistakes. So this is not a cookie cutter report. This is personalized to you. And we're making this available for basically our cost. So this costs about $10 for 15 practices, and we hope you guys find it useful. No pressure to use these because I know a lot of you are in the final days of your preparation. But if you wanted to see, just get another pair of eyes to see how you're doing for read aloud, just look through one of your recordings. Please feel free to give it a shot. All right, so that's all I wanted to share with you guys today.
Thank you, Moses. All right. Thank you, teachers. Some of the teachers are no longer here because they've gone for their classes, their afternoon classes. I'd like to thank them for joining us, and also teachers who are still here with us, Mrs. Sham, Teacher Ryan, Teacher Waylon, and Moses for joining us. And thank you to all of you for being very enthusiastic, very eager learners. Okay, your attitude really determines so much. So I wish all of you the best. Remember, take steps, a step at a time in the next few days, and you can get better. Don't worry so much. And don't worry about things you cannot control, okay? Teachers, any final words before we say bye-bye to everybody?
Stay calm, okay? It's not easy to handle exams. Just be yourself, apply what you've learned, and just do your best. Don't worry about anything else.
Yeah. Moses, we can still see your screen.
I wanted to share,
Oh.
in case anybody
This.
was
Yes, yes.
hadn't picked up the link. So as Miss Mavis has shared, we will be sharing the rest of the follow-up materials as well as future events on our Telegram chat. So as and when convenient, please feel free to join.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, Teacher Ryan, any last words? No, Teacher Ryan's very steady presence over here. Teacher Wei Lun, thank you very much. And thank you everybody. Please have a very good lunch. And we shall see you on Telegram. Okay, let's converse and let's see each other there. Bye-bye. Have a good day.